Every time a new console generation drops, we hear the same tired excuse. Superman is too powerful for a video game. They say he's boring because he's invincible. But back in 2008, the geniuses behind Star Wars Rogue Squadron, Factor 5, actually cracked the code. They weren't building a simulator for a god, they were building the ultimate super brawler engine. And then the 2008 financial crisis hit, and the Man of Steel was melted down and pawned off to keep the lights on a little bit longer. The story of Superman Blue Steel is a masterclass in what could have been. Factor 5 didn't try to nerf Big Blue by giving him a health bar. Instead, they focused on the collateral damage. The challenge wasn't can Superman survive, it was can Metropolis survive? But the problem here was the publisher, Brash Entertainment, a flash-in-the-pan company that tried to buy up every movie license that they could. And when they went bankrupt during the global economic crash, they took Factor 5 and the Man of Steel down with them. We didn't just lose a game, we lost the blueprint for how to make a flying powerhouse feel fun. So if you want that god-tier power today, where do you go? Weirdly, your best bet is a modded version of Grand Theft Auto 5. The Superman script mods for PC actually capture the flight and destruction better than any official Superman game. Superman Blue Steel proves that the "he's too powerful" argument is just a lack of imagination. Factor 5 had the vision, the tech, and the passion. But in the end, it wasn't kryptonite that killed the Man of Steel. It was a bad contract and a global recession. Maybe one day he'll break out of the gaming phantom zone. Let's just pray it's not another dud.
Surprise, motherfucker!
In the world of first-person shooters, Titanfall 2 is the undisputed GOAT. It had movements so clean, it felt illegal, and a campaign that actually made us care about a giant robot. So where's the sequel? Well, it turns out Titanfall 3 was real. It was in development for 10 months, and then Respawn killed it themselves because they found a faster way to make bank. The tragedy of Titanfall 3 is that it wasn't a failure. It's that it was too good to let live. Back in 2017, Respawn was deep into the threequel. We're talking new Titans, expanded wall running, and a continuation of the story. But then the Battle Royale fever hit. The team took the movement and gunplay from Titanfall 3's prototype, stripped out the giant mechs, and gave us Apex Legends. Apex became a monster success, and it made so much money that EA and Respawn looked at the half-finished Titanfall 3 and decided it was a distraction. They just didn't want to put it on the shelf. They effectively cannibalized its soul to fuel a live service machine that never ends. Even now, Respawn keeps dangling the carrot, putting Titanfall weapons and lore into Apex, while at the same time telling fans that a third game is not coming. Titanfall 3 didn't die because it was a failure, it died because its developers realized they didn't need to innovate if they could just sell you the same shit every 3 months. And you not keep buying it. What are you doing? Bastards. Forget the Jedi, forget the Force. In the deep dark levels of Coruscant, nobody is coming to save you with a lightsaber. Star Wars 1313 was supposed to be the un-Star Wars game. A gritty, R-rated descent into the criminal underworld. It looked incredible. It played like Uncharted in Star Wars dress-up. And then, Mickey Mouse bought the fucking galaxy. In 2012, LucasArts dropped a gameplay trailer that, at the time, melted brains. We weren't playing as a farm boy on a desert planet, or a trainee Jedi learning good and bad. We were to be a bounty hunter in the vertical slums, where the sun never shines, and the scum of the galaxy thrives. This was Star Wars for adults. Cover-based shooting, cinematic platforming, and a level of graphical fidelity that was probably reaching too far for what the consoles of the day could actually manage, but we didn't care. And we all got swept up in the fun. George Lucas himself apparently stepped in mid-development and said, "Hey, make it about Boba." The hype went from 100 to 1,000. We were finally going to see the deadliest man in the galaxy in his prime. Then came 2013. Disney bought Lucasfilm, and with it the studio LucasArts, and decided it was easier to license the brand out than to finish what was already cooking. They shut down the studio, laid off the staff, and force-choked 1313 out of existence. If you're looking for that 1313 itch today, you've got Star Wars Outlaws. It finally gives us that scoundrel open world, but it's definitely more Disney Plus than R-rated Underworld. The closest we ever got to 1313 was probably the Bounty Hunter game back on the GameCube and PS2, which you can play on modern consoles, but it's not the same. Star Wars 1313 is the ghost that still haunts every Star Wars celebration. It represents a version of the franchise that wasn't afraid to get its hands dirty. Disney might have given Star Wars a brand new lease of life with all of those dollar bills, but they definitely read the room wrong on this one. Bastards. The longish-running joke in video games is more a coping mechanism than anything, because it's definitely not funny anymore, waiting for Valve to acknowledge a game that we know exists in some form thanks to their own internal leaks, but they're giving us nothing. Valve doesn't make threes, they make billions of dollars from Steam. Why gamble on a sequel when you own the digital storefront everyone uses to buy other people's sequels? After the lightning-in-a-bottle success of Left 4 Dead 1 and 2, a third installment seemed like a no-brainer. New consoles, the Source 2 engine, more of that director AI chaos. It was guaranteed money. But instead of a release date, all we got were ghost files. Between 2013 and 2016, leaks showed everything from a reimagined plantation map to a Middle Eastern setting. There were even rumours of a Midnight Riders campaign. But then, radio silence. Valve reportedly nuked the project because they couldn't agree on which engine to use. Imagine that. The most anticipated co-op zombie shooter in history, killed because the nerds were too busy fighting over game engines. Since Valve left the throne empty, others have tried to wear the crown. Turtle Rock, the original developers of Left 4 Dead, gave us Back 4 Blood. It had the DNA, but it was bogged down by a clunky card system and an art style that felt sanitized. Then there's World War Z, which gets the horde part right with thousands of zombies, but it lacks that oh fucking bollocks tension that only an end-level tank can produce. But really, do we even need a third game? With thousands upon thousands of community-made mods on the Steam Workshop, from custom campaigns to replacing the tank with Shrek, players are not getting bored. So maybe the real Left 4 Dead 3 is the one we made along the way, while waiting for Valve to count to fucking 3. Bastards. We've been to space, we've been to the trenches of World War II, and we've been to the future. But did you know that Activision almost sent us back to the Colosseum? Call of Duty Roman Wars is the most what the hell were they thinking project in the franchise's history, and honestly, I'd have played it. In 2008, the team at Vicarious Visions pitched something radical. They took the Call of Duty formula, the cinematic scale, the boots on the ground intensity, and swapped the M1 Garand for a Gladius. You would have played as a member of Julius Caesar's 10th Legion, fighting through the Battle of Alesia and even riding war elephants into combat. But when the pitch reached the top brass at Activision, they got cold feet. They were worried about diluting the brand. They wanted more modern warfare, not modern Centurion, and the project was axed before it could even get a proper title. If it had launched, it would have predated Rise, Son of Rome by years, and potentially changed what we expect from the Call of Duty name. Instead of a series that's stuck in a loop of seasonal battle passes, we could have had a Call of Duty line of historical epics. Think Assassin's Creed, but with the Call of Duty logo. But Activision chose the safe bet, and this Roman experiment became just another casualty of the corporate safe zone. Roman Wars is the ultimate reminder that even the biggest franchises in the world occasionally have a wild creative spark, only for a suit in a boardroom to come along and piss on it. Bastards. Look, more stuff. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, do me a solid and hit the like and subscribe buttons below and give the bell icon a ding so you're notified whenever there's something new to watch. It won't always be good, but it will always be monetized. Gotta get my pennies, yo. I've been Chris, you've been gorgeous, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, cheers my dears.